Jackie Jack, are you back in Australia, brother?
No, I'm not.
You're still in America?
Yeah, I missed my flight because my previous flight had like an oxygen tank had a leak in it, so I missed the connecting flights. I'm in San Francisco for another day.
Oh, jeez.
Man, this is a sign.
Yeah.
You need to move here, brother. You need to get that green card, bro.
Yes.
Get you here. True, what's up? Vinny, what's up? Alex, what's going on, brother?
How's it going?
It's going good. I saw Alex reaching for that unmute. What's up, bro?
Yeah,
I saw him like fumbling at the phone.
it just worked out. Like my hands are shaking,
Yeah. You been getting choked out by little kids at jujitsu, bro? What's going on?
bro. Man, like a 15-year-old girl freaking choked me out. It was sad.
Oh, brother. Oh, I love you, man.
And she's smart. She just waits until like I get tired and then like just slips that bicep band.
He said, just wait till I get tired. Man, we gotta get the cardio up, dog.
Yeah, no, dude, I've been like my cardio's like gotten so much better though. Like just these like last 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, that's great, bro. That's
dude.
Great.
I love all the content from the retreat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That
All
was
these
great.
gentlemen were there, bro. All these gentlemen were there. There's no way to avoid it today. We have to talk about it, even though it's a nutrition call. We just have to talk about it.
Yeah.
I obviously got some stuff planned for today, but I mean, I want to open the floor and just kind of do some recouping and overview of the weekend and some wins that you guys have. I know Alex, you're the only one. Alex and Jacob obviously weren't there, but Jack, Vinny, Drew. I'd love to start the call off by just sharing some wins and sharing some thoughts. Where's everybody's head at after the weekend?
I can jump. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Vinny. Oh, yeah. So my head is been a lot of journaling this week. Trying to figure out my next steps. Looking into a bunch of different things, bunch of different options. Nothing really firm yet. Joey, one of the things I'm looking at, and that might be.
You're crazy, bro. If you come, you're crazy. But
it is crazy. I don't even know.
Yeah, it'll be a great time. It'll be a great time.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, man, it would be awesome to have you there. But
Jeez.
Overall, how are you feeling headspace wise in general? You feel like you're on a better foot than before you got there?
Yeah, I feel really good. I feel really positive. Feel really, I was talking to a friend actually, went out on Monday night or Tuesday night or whatever, and they actually commented like, you seem weird today, like different. So that I took it as a good thing and just just went in very positive and very he was telling me about this like business he's starting, and I was just like super enthusiastic with him, and just naturally I wasn't faking it or anything, but he's like, wow, you're like way more excited about this than even I am. And it was just like that kind of mindset of like just iron sharpens iron type thing, just building him up. It just felt really good.
Okay, there's an opportunity to lead and you took it, right? Reinforce it.
I think that's the case for sure.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. And it's hard not to be toxically optimistic. That's what I'm trying to say. That's a mouthful. After spending a weekend with Mr. Newsom and then everybody here as well, right? It's kind of hard not to be. So that's amazing, brother. That's amazing, man. I'm happy for you, Vinny. You were about to say something, bro. Did you buy a Tesla yet, or what?
Yeah, what's happening with that?
Not yet. So I scheduled the call with, I'm going to talk to Mitch Moore, Matt's brother.
There you go.
Tax planning. So I just want to make sure all my ducks are in order first and get a better idea. But that's Tuesday, and then be able to go from there. But I've been looking at them. I've been figuring stuff out. But my two, I would say I have like two major wins. The first is like, I'm definitely seeing the impact, the activities this weekend. Like, we really went deep and dug deep, on every level, like mental, spiritually, physically. But physically, like for my training for this Ironman race, I just see like the difference now, like after going through, mainly that exercise of carrying each other up that mountain, and just digging deep and realizing like you got a lot more gas in the tank than you realize, right? Like it's all a mind game. You keep going. So like, I'm just seeing the difference when I got back this week. I told you guys on the other call, I said how like my last endurance swim was like 250 yards. That was the most I thought I could do. And then yesterday or 2 days ago, I like pushed it and I was like, all right, let's see how much I can actually do now. Got it up to 1,500 yards. So a little 600% increase. Jack did the math on that.
Not too shabby, huh?
Just a little bit.
And then like today, I had to do a 9-mile run. That's probably the most I've run in a day in my life. And it was like the hottest day too. Delaware got hot today. It was humid. I know you Florida boys are used to
I was
that.
gonna say, I was like, it was 62 degrees in Delaware today.
It was like 80, and it was a drastic switch because it's been like 40, like maybe 50. So like I woke up like I was not feeling good. Like it you know, I feel like when there's a drastic weather change, like it kind of hits you. But I got out there and like it was rough at first. The first few miles were like I was struggling, but like you just keep going and you realize like you can do it, you know, just keep putting one step in front of the other. So that was one major win. And then the other one I'd just say is like, I think I really, like Drew said, like I know the next step now. Seeing Jeremy Newsom put it into second grade math, like how easy this really is to make a $2 million business. All you got to do is sell something that costs $2,000 to 1,000 people, and there's 2 million. And, you know, it kind of hit me. I was like, I've been doing this investing thing for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And if I just compile everything I've learned, right? Like I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's all the do's and don'ts. Like I got 5 years of strategies and all kinds of knowledge, like just compiling all that into like a nice, you know, little course or something. And I feel like there's my sell. You know, I could save people tons of time, money, and you know, stress. So that's kind of what I've been working on. I've been typing away, you know, trying to do like at least an hour each day, just kind of like get all my thoughts on that out. So finally, you know, just put the belief in myself.
Yeah, dude. And if you ever wanted to riff about that too, not to get into like a business conversation on the nutrition call, if you ever wanted to riff about it, we could talk. Cause I have like a million ideas right now of like what you could build and how you could do it. Just because I know how Jeremy does his stuff and like it could literally be your inspiration, right? Like there's just so many opportunities and there's so many ideas, especially with something like that where it's an ROI based coaching system. Here with you guys and everybody watching the recording, it's like it's not necessarily, there's no like ROI. It's not like, hey, join DK and you're going to make 10K. Like there's no like tangible ROI. The ROI is all emotional, beneficial, health-wise and everything. I can't put a number on it, right? You can put a number on it. That gives you a shitload of leverage with marketing and sales. So you're like, my average guy pays me 2K and makes 20. Boom, plaster that shit everywhere. Right. So you have so much opportunity with that on an ROI based offer. So that would be really killer, dude. So if you ever want to riff on that, let me know. But it really is that simple. And I think something that Newsom does, Alex and Jacob, I don't know how familiar you guys are with his content and his work and everything. It's like he boils everything down to the same thing we boil things down to here with fitness, where it's like it starts with your beliefs. Right. If the beliefs that you hold about yourself don't align with where you're trying to go, you're always going to be bottlenecked by you. Right? Because those beliefs turn into actions, turn into reality. Everybody here, everybody's watching the recording has heard that 400 million times in their time with DK, right? Because it's the truth. But it's cool for you guys that were at the retreat to come in and hear some other crazy guy, not us three crazy guys, some other crazy guy say it from a perspective of just finance and even relationships. Like a guy that's an expert in finance is now telling you the same thing. It's like, oh shit, maybe these three guys aren't that fucking crazy. Maybe this is true. Right? So it's great to have that. That's what we knew the big thing of having him there would be for you guys. It's like, okay, double down on the fact that we know beliefs, actions, reality. So super, super good stuff. Jackie Jack, what you got? Well, some wins, bro. What are some wins other than staying in a free country?
Oh, it's not that free. It's actually quite expensive, but you know, especially with the Australian dollar right now. But you know.
Yeah, it's actually not. It's not free. Yeah, San Francisco too. Good luck, brother.
Yeah. So I had like two main objectives coming into the retreat. Right. The first one was like, should I come to America? And I think it's like, is it 11 days now? I think I've upped it to 11 days I've been spending here. So it's an extra day. So every single thing is telling me that I got to come back here. Like it hasn't been a single sign saying that, you can't, shouldn't be here. So that's definitely like the next step in the journey. Once I finish I mean, I could probably even just get away with just finishing this year. I don't even think I need to wait until like a year and a half, which was the original plan. And the second thing was just like the impact of the people around you. Like I kind of felt that I'm almost kind of like the guy who was ahead of the game in like my friendship circle, but I just met a lot of people who were really far ahead of me, and just the impact of having those people in your life. And it's almost like being excellent isn't really a choice. You know what I mean? You have to do it. Like those workouts, man, I don't think I would have completed them if I was just doing them by myself, right? Like I think I probably would have given up. And the fact that you have these people here that like even believe in you, right? Like one of the big worries for me was like, what version of Jack are they going to see, right? They've been seeing this guy. I've talked big, like in all my text messages and my videos. Like, will they see that version of Jack this weekend? So that was like almost like bit nervous, right? And hopefully I did decently. But yeah, it's big wins over the weekend.
Dude, you threw up and bear crawled through it to keep going, bro. That's pretty good.
Killed it.
That's pretty good, brother. But dude, I think the point that you made there is important, and that everybody can pull a lesson from that's here, not just the guys that were at the retreat. Alex, Jacob, guys watching recording, is the idea of like, how often would you quit if you were alone? Right? For context, we're doing these stairs. I don't know exactly how many stairs it was. Newsom told us, I don't know, it was like 50 or 60, something like that. Stairs that you had to go up, and it was right up a hill, and you had to give everybody there a piggyback ride, and there was 13 of us. So I mean, it took like an hour and a half, 2 hours, because you go and then you switch. Your guy takes you, and then you switch partners. You go with the next guy until you've carried all 12, 13 guys up that staircase. It was brutal, right? And there's no weight classes here either. So I'm a little peanut, and I was carrying, Tom, who's 6'7", 6'8", right? There ain't no weight classes on these piggyback rides. So we were all doing them. They were brutal, right? And again, how many guys there would have quit if they were alone doing it? And that's why this concept of iron sharpens iron is not just something that we pull out of our ass, right? It's a biblical concept of how important a team is. It's nothing new. Anybody here that's played sports as well can attest to that. How many times did you do suicides as a kid, running back and forth on the field, and you would have quit if there wasn't a coach and, 30 teammates there with you, right? So that whole concept of having these people around you is massively important. And that's why even after guys like Alex and Vinny get through, hands-on coaching here, and they still have the opportunity to remain a part of the community in some capacity, even after having hands-on coaching, because it's like, that's still accountability, dude. You aren't at a point now where you guys, either of you, need somebody checking in on you every single day and helping you fine tune things, but you still have all these guys around you, and that holds you accountable and keeps you on the path regardless. So that's a big lesson that we saw play out, right? Alex, what's up, bro?
No, I just wanted to make a point with that. And that's exactly the things that you guys have built through this community, is that sense of accountability with other men, because, we look up to you, and we want to keep, to you, Jack and Gabe and everyone there. And the fact that we want to like keep up and keep excelling and, make you guys proud. And at the same time, like the new guys coming in, we want to be leaders for them.
Yep.
And it's just like, the way that you've created the community is like amazing. And then we just kind of like rally each other up. And it sounds like that's exactly what was going on at the retreat. Real life, bro. It's just like the best adult male field trip of all time. Literally what it is, dude. I swear to God, sometimes I'm thinking about like anything I post or any workout I'm doing when I like want to give up. I think about you guys, dead serious. I'm like, man, I want to make these guys proud. And, and it's not just like it is a personal thing, right? But it's just like an extra fire. Yeah. And that's okay. Even if it is like a personal thing, or even if it is like, some people use this idea of like vanity metric or things like that. Even if it is, who cares? If it works, use it. I don't care. There's a lot of people that'll tell you shouldn't use negative emotion as a motivator either. But I'm here to tell you, I use a lot of negative emotion as a motivator. All these guys that were at the retreat saw me weep like a baby during one of the exercises. I'm just like anybody else. I got a shitload of personal pain too. And I pull on that when I need it for motivation. So
I'm here to tell you, even if it is a vanity metric, or even if there's people out there that say don't use negative emotion as motivation, dude, if it gets your ass in gear, do it. Right? Do it. Obviously, don't develop some terrible relationship with that, but use it, man. If you got to use it, use it. So yeah, that's really good stuff, man. And again, like something that Jack said too is he feels like he's ahead of his group of friends. Then he comes to an event like this and he's like, oh wait, like there's another layer. That's how we feel around Newsome, me, Jack, and Gabe. We get in there, we're like, oh, you think you're all right at business, then you get around a guy that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and you're like, I don't know shit. Right? I don't know anything. Right? So there's always another room, and there's people for Newsome in his life that he goes into a room and he's like, I don't know shit. So there's always another layer. And that's why getting into groups like this, getting into communities like this, and continuing to expand your horizon and expand the circle that you have is always going to be beneficial. And you bet your ass that merchandise we're building has iron sharpens iron on it. You bet it does. So don't even worry about that.
What about you got any all caps? Let's go.
We could get one of those. That would be good, like down the back or something. That's
I
a
would buy that.
classic.
I would
That's a
absolutely wear
classic
that.
line. Yeah, hell yeah, brother. Well, awesome, you guys. Awesome.
One
awesome.
other point I always
Yeah.
wanted to, not really totally related, but that I kind of took away from the weekend. I think I mentioned this to Vinny as well over the weekend, but everything, in life seems so difficult, until you kind of start it, and kind of played out over the weekend at that retreat. Like as we did different tasks, it was always kind of difficult at the beginning.
Mhm.
And as you went further and further and got more and more into it, it got easier and easier, whether it was, sharing with the group, being open to do that, but meditation, the staring, the stairs, everything seemed to get a little bit easier as you went. So it's kind of just, I thought it was a good metaphor of like, just start and just try and just keep pushing forward, because the more you do something, the more easier it's going to get. And those habits are built. So
100%. How many of you guys can relate to that with, I'll try to tie it back into the call. When you first started out, you were like, how many calories? How much protein?
Right.
How many of you guys felt that way? When you started?
100%,
Yeah, probably everybody here, right? Everybody here, and probably everybody watching the recording was just like this at home, right? Like, oh yeah, right. But now, like Jack, I've heard you tell me like multiple times, you're like, it's so easy now.
Yeah.
Like you've said it, you're like, dude, it's so easy. I eat wings, like, and it's fine. Like I hit my protein and I'm good.
But it's hard when you have negative calories though, when you work out and you throw off the
Yeah, you got all your protein and then laid it all out in front of you. So you had to re-up, bro. You had to re-up on that. That doesn't count. Yeah, that's hilarious. But yeah, exactly. Your point is absolutely correct, right? And you think about something again. I'm trying to tie it into the call, like the nutrition, like super hard when you get started. Totally difficult. That's why we brace you for it. Hey, first few weeks gonna be kind of low on the calories, boys, and that protein's gonna seem a little scary, but you can get through it. And once you do, it's gonna be butter. It's gonna be super easy. Ice baths. What was the hardest part of the ice bath? Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it not just sitting there waiting to get in the ice bath and right before you're about to get in?
yeah.
That's what it is for me.
Bad in the first like 15 seconds. And then after that, that was another thing. Yeah. Got so easy after a little bit.
Yeah, you smoked it. All three of you guys here, like you guys all crushed it, right? Because you got in at first, it's difficult, and then you sit there and you're just like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Have you guys ever heard of fire walking? This is a Tony Robbins thing. Okay. So what happened on Monday night? Me, Jack, and Gabe stayed an extra day. Okay. What happened on Monday night is one of Newsome's friends was running an event, a leadership event, and he's in part of Tony Robbins's circle, right? Like he knows Tony Robbins and he runs leadership style events. They did fire walking though. So they offered us the opportunity to do it. Jacob, are you able to pull up a picture of fire walking so we can show it to the people that don't know what it is? It should look like hot coals laid out on the ground and people walking over it. It's like a Indian ritual. It's like a Native American ritual.
Yeah,
right?
let me pull it up.
But anyways, same exact thing happened where you get up to the line. I'm like, yo, 1,000-degree embers. I'm not really sure if that's a move here, gentlemen. I don't know if that's the most intelligent decision we can make on a Monday night is walk across 1,000-degree embers. But as soon as you take the first step, you're fine. And you just get to the end of it. You wipe your feet off in the little puddle of water they have at the end, and there's nothing. You didn't get a blister or anything. Now, the scientific reasoning behind this, I know our astrophysicist here can help us with this, Mr. Jackie Jack, but it's my conclusion is probably the dispersion of the weight, right? So you're walking through this and it's big and terrifying. They have all these hot coals, but as soon as you take one step, guess what you do? You just power through to the end of it. It's kind of pretty simple. But when I'm sitting there at the front of the line, you're like, ain't no way I'm doing that. That is unintelligent. Feels the same way with an ice bath. Should I jump in 40 to 50-degree water? That seems unintelligent and terrifying. But as soon as you just rip the Band-Aid off, you're in and you're rolling. All right, so same thing here. So yeah, I have a video of me doing this. If anybody wants it, I can send it to you. But anyways, that's a really, really good point. It's a really, really good point, Drew. Do you guys have any other feedback or any other comments before we kind of get into the scheduled stuff for today? Awesome. Let's do it. Let's do the thing. So, gentlemen, what I had prepared today had to do a lot with performance eating. A big part of that is going to be carbohydrates. Now, the reason I want to talk about eating for performance is because of the weekend that we just had, where we did some like crazy, we did the relays, we did a crazy long, like a 2-hour workout on the stairs, and then we followed it up with a run afterwards, right? Like it was a long, grueling weekend. And that's when you get to the point in training where there's training and there's working out and there's exercising, but then there's performance training, different ballgame. The stuff Newsom was telling you guys about, ultra marathons, the stuff Vinny's doing right now, half Ironman, like this is training for performance. And there's ways that you should absolutely tailor your nutrition to accommodate that, because this is a different ballgame. I personally don't necessarily, and me and Gabe talk about how, like, even though we do jujitsu and lift weights, we don't personally like in our mind envision ourselves as athletes. It's kind of hard to do that because like we've been there before with sports and it doesn't feel like that to us. But in actuality, it is. Like how I eat is I eat for performance. I do. Right. Because I do it so often that it really is a sport. And I do have to tailor my nutrition to that. So for those of you guys that are like a Vinny or like an Alex getting into jiu-jitsu now, you know, Drew, Jack, Carlos, as you guys get into this stuff, Jacob, I know you're getting into jiu-jitsu too. As you start to pick up these active hobbies outside of just the working out that you're doing here, you kind of have to reframe yourself in your mind as an athlete and start tailoring your nutrition to that. Right. And so this is where you kind of get into some complexity with things, and that's okay. It's a fun conversation to have. Right. How many of you have been here when I've talked about how many carbs you should eat or how many fats you should eat? And I tell you, it's probably going to be in relation to the activity levels that you have. How many of you guys have heard me say that? I think a few of you guys have been here for those calls. Exact same thing. Exact same thing. Now, with as much endurance as you're doing, bro, you should be carbon up. You should absolutely be smacking your protein goal and then backfilling with carbs until you're full. Because that is the body's preferred source of energy, right? That's how you're going to recover, especially as an endurance athlete. I don't know if you've tracked it, but if we were to track how many calories you're burning on a day of training, where you're going and you're training and moving for 2 to 4 hours, you have your heart rate, you know, above 120, 130 beats per minute for 4 hours straight. You are burning calories, man. You are burning carbohydrates. Your body is tapping into fat stores to get energy. Right. So when it comes to things like carbohydrates and it comes to eating for performance, we have to consider things more like timing more. We have to consider things like actual dosage of what we're getting. Right. And this is where a lot of this idea of FDA guidelines and all these, you know, daily values that you have on nutrition labels goes out the window, because you're going way above and beyond what an average person does, because all of those averages are designed for sedentary people. Nobody in this call is sedentary. Nobody. Not based on FDA guidelines. You might have been sedentary before you joined the program, but you're not sedentary once you're inside of it. If you're lifting 2 to 3 days a week and you're walking almost every day, like pretty much all of you are, unless you're a guy that's trying to gain weight, you are far above the sedentary line. Is that making sense conceptually in terms of how these things are calculated and where we need to go from a nutritional experience? Right? Jacob, I love that you're here for this call, because I know you do a lot of powerlifting. And I know how big that nutrition is for that specifically. Like I know when I've been in preps for like bigger deadlifts and stuff, like, dude, I am packing calories. Like I am slamming carbs. I am timing and prepping for a lift. If I know I'm pulling 500 pounds off the floor on Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe even Tuesday, I am eating carbs for Saturday. Right? I'm literally game planning this out, and I'm timing these meals. I'm making sure I actually have a carbohydrate meal 3 hours before my lift and 30 minutes before I'm on the platform. I'm slamming honey, right? Like performance eating is a whole nother ball game that a lot of guys come in here, end up tapping into eventually, because they get to a point where they're like a guy like Vinny, where he's like, you know what? I lost all this weight. I feel really, really good. I'm going to push myself and I'm going to go run an Ironman. That happens. That happens. Now, a lot of guys aren't there yet, but a lot of guys trend in that direction. So it's important to have this information. So Jacob, can you speak a little bit on your experience? Because again, like you're in the sport where, in my opinion, that and endurance athletes, powerlifters and endurance athletes are like the guys that really have to eat highly focused on their performance and kind of tailor to their training and everything that's going on. You actually, really both of you. So you don't fry your CNS, 1, 2. So you actually have the energy to execute the task in front of you.
Yeah, I think that's what's so cool about the DK method and what we teach. And that's a big reason why I decided to I want to be a part of the team too, is like, it's really flexible, depending on what you're doing, right? Like, it's not like a one mold, lifestyle. It's like, you can apply the DK method to anything. But yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with the notion where you said, if someone asks you, well, how much carbs and fat should I eat? The first better question is, what do you do every day? Like, what do you like to do? And so for strength training and, specifically powerlifting and weightlifting, right? Like, I've actually had an interesting, transition, because I'm doing BJJ 3 or 4 times a week. And as a result, I'm lifting less and such. And so I've actually kind of decreased my protein intake a little bit, right? Because I feel like I'm not breaking down my muscles. I'm not, my training volume has been cut in half almost. But when I am, when I was lifting 5-6 times a week and competing regularly, number one, if I'm not getting in I was at 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body fat, because that was the only way I could recover. When you're deadlifting, squatting, benching twice a week at heavy intensities, it's just, if I don't get enough protein in, I can't recover. I can't hit my sessions and I can't progress. But you're right, the carb timing was everything, right? When I'm just training casually, sometimes I'll go to the gym on the empty stomach, and I don't really like eating before I lift, so I prefer that. But when you're training that intense, and Vinny, I'm sure you don't swim on an empty stomach either, right? That's psycho, I mean, obviously you don't need a huge meal, you don't want to cramp, but you need those carbs to perform. And anyone who I want to, if any of you do this, more power to you. But it drives me nuts when people try and be purely fat powered when they're doing any kind of endurance or strength training.
Yeah, it kills me.
It just it just doesn't work. Maybe your body can adapt, but it's just not optimal. It's not efficient, and it's more expensive, right? Why would I not utilize carbs? And so, yeah, definitely, when I was going hard in the weight room, carbs and proteins were my best friend, and that timing was key, right? If I didn't have a good meal on a Friday and I was maxing out on a Saturday, it's going to be a bad session no matter what. You gotta keep your glycogen stores filled. But it has been interesting transitioning more to combat sports. I kind of need a little, I still keep the carbs pretty high because I'm burning so many calories, but I'm not nearly breaking down as much muscle. So I've kind of relaxed I'm still getting 180, 200 grams of protein a day, but not trying to push for 250 anymore. So.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that has to happen is just any kind of transition that you make with fitness, and the big transition you guys make here is you have to have an identity shift, right? And again, I know a lot of you, when I say this, you're like, oh, well, I'm not really an athlete. Based on health guidelines and FDA guidelines,
you guys are all athletes, dude.
You're an athlete.
Alrighty. I'm super passionate about that too. You don't have to play a formal sport or be in a league to be an athlete, right? You guys aren't just working out, you're training. Training is different than working out. Working out is I go to the gym for 30 minutes a week, that's great. If that's exactly. But you guys are training, you're improving yourselves. That's what iron sharpens iron is. And so if you're training consistently, you're 100% athlete. So
as soon as you whip out a spreadsheet or an app and you start tracking shit, bro, you're training, you're an athlete, dog. When you're in that phase of life where you're pulling, and not that this is bad, right? I've seen people if you can do this, you can do it. My mom does this shit and it kills me, but it works for her and she's very, very healthy. She'll randomly go to Orange Theory or randomly go to F45 or Barry's Boot Camp or do she does random stuff all the time, tracks nothing. She's not training, she's just working out. And that does work for her, right? Not optimal for results. Some people leave this program and progress to that because you can maintain at that. You can get out of this program and just rip F45 and freaking Barry's Boot Camp and you'll probably maintain. But you're probably not going to progress if you're not actually training, meaning pulling out the numbers and getting actual tangible data. You're probably not going to improve. Right? You might maintain, not going to improve. Right. So the reframe that has to happen, the identity shift that has to happen for all of you guys is you have to understand that you are an athlete according to FDA guidelines. If we looked up the definition of what makes somebody an athlete in the freaking CDC or whatever it is, the WHO, whoever all the hell makes all the guidelines, you would be labeled as an athlete. You would 100%. So that's why it's important to consider that factor, right? consider that factor when you look at a label that says, oh, you only need, this much protein. Oh, you only need 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram, not per pound, per kilogram. Who does that apply to? That applies to somebody that is sedentary. If you guys are all bedridden, then yeah, you only need 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram. If you guys are training hard, you are training, you are tracking, you are improving, you are progressing, you are moving forward, and you're highly active in comparison to the people that they make those guidelines for. Right. So the identity shift that again has to happen is accepting the fact that like I am highly active. I am an athlete by most standards. Right. How many of you are like, that's news to me? I'm an athlete. Yeah, totally. Right. Totally. But you are. You absolutely are. Right. Vinny, I know you adopted that identity a long time ago, bro. As soon as you signed up for an Ironman, you were like, oh shit, I'm doing this thing. Alex is like, man, as soon as I got choked out by a 15-year-old girl, I was like, man, I'm doing this thing. No, I'm just playing. I got to take the shot. Right.
Hey man, we celebrate our victories and our losses, man. That's how we do it.
That's the game, bro. That's the game. That's every
I've
game,
had some good
especially comedy.
victories too. So
There you go.
don't
Ask-
make me call
ask-
Gabe on you though.
Yeah. Ask Gabe how his elbow feels. Oh man. But yeah, and that's the identity shift that has to happen. And the reason that I bring this up is because I've recently had to go through this because I was just kind of working out. Like I went through a phase there where I kind of got lazy. I wasn't really tracking my stuff. I was like, I'm just going to go in, do my lifts and just go to RIR 0. I'm not going to deload. I'm not going to I'm just going to cycle when I feel like it. And what I was doing for that 6-month stretch there is I was just working out. I was just maintaining. I wasn't progressing. I wasn't considering factors. And it's because I didn't identify in my mind as an athlete still. My identity for me shifted away from athlete the day that I walked away from soccer. So even though I never stopped because I started fighting while I was still playing soccer and I just rolled right into that, it was always framed in my mind as like a hobby. Oh, it's just something I do. But because of that, what happened is now I got a banged up shoulder, dude. Got a banged up neck. I got all these bang up injuries because I wasn't taking it serious. And it's all spawned from me not properly shifting that identity to that of one that needs to train for performance. I need to eat for performance. If you guys saw my tweet from yesterday, I tweeted about how I believe all health shortcomings are a result of habits, subconscious habits, even injuries. Because what was going on in my subconscious is oh yeah, I just lift and do jujitsu. What was going on in my subconscious was not, oh, I'm a jujitsu athlete. I need to eat like that. I need to recover like that. I need to train like that. And now I sit here, bum shoulder, bum neck, can't really train striking right now because it absolutely kills me. Same thing happened to Gabe. Both his shoulders are blasted, hips are screwed, tweaked his erector again, right? Matt, same thing. My roommate started training jiu-jitsu. He's like, dude, my shoulders are wrecked, right? You have to have these frame shifts, especially when you get into the levels of competition, like a combat sport or like something that Vinny is doing as well, right? And you have to eat that way because most of these injuries and these things that occur are not a result of overtraining. It's a result of under recovering. How you can prevent that is with meal timing, with going even harder on your protein, with ensuring you're getting adequate carbohydrates based on your movement levels, with making sure that your sleep is tailored. These are all things that have to adjust. And there's an identity that has to shift when you start taking on more activities outside of just the basic kind of things that we lay as a foundation here for you. Because eventually the pattern we've seen is everybody ends up picking up something. Right? If you haven't picked it up yet, you're going to end up picking it up. It's just a natural occurrence in a fitness journey, right? How many of you are like, hell yeah, I can be an athlete now. This is dope. How many of you are like, fuck yeah, I got to start eating like that too? Yeah.
Connect it more.
Yeah. It feels good too. It feels powerful.
Really got to connect it.
Yeah. And it feels powerful, right? It's one of those things that's it feels cool. It's a new identity to pick up. It's like, oh yeah, I do this thing. I know it felt good for me. So when I finally concluded what was going on, I was like, oh, well, this is dumb. It's just because I didn't actually give myself the title of athlete. And that's what led me to the problems I had. Now my training is totally shifted. My eating's totally shifted. I'm in a similar boat to Jacob, where it's like I've pulled back on my lifting from 5 to 6 days a week to 3 or 4. I've tailored my protein or my eating a little bit more, where I'm budgeting a little less for protein on the calorie side, and I'm budgeting a little more for carbohydrates, which is a little weird because I went through such a long period of time where I was basically freaking carnivore, dude. I was eating same thing, 225 grams of protein a day, and I'm like $1.75. right? Now I'm coming back down to maybe like 180 or so, but I'm making sure I'm getting a shitload of carbs in too. So that way I recover. That way I sleep well. That way my muscles are where they need to be when I do go to train, not just work out. Right. So for those of you here, Jack and Drew, have you guys considered picking up any active hobbies outside of just the weightlifting and everything that we have you guys do here?
Potentially, like I know I have it in my goals to do the a Spartan race in November.
Mhm.
So whether it's so whether it's a
Yeah,
5,
the filler word.
so whether it's the just the 5K or the 10K, but yeah, there's one going on like November 6th or something like that. So that's one of my goals right now.
There you go, brother. There you go. You got your phone on you?
I do.
You want to sign up for one?
Pulling out a Jeremy move.
You want to?
Let me, because my buddy, he runs all of them and he sets up a team. So I don't know if I could, he doesn't have the team set up yet. So I
Got
gotta
his
go.
number?
Yeah, I'm just hardballing.
Yeah,
you, bro.
yeah. You have his number? Yeah. Pull him into the call.
I'm just hardballing you, bro.
No,
But
true.
yeah,
I
it's amazing.
totally would, but yeah, I want to be able to actually join his team.
No, yeah, I'm just totally hardballing you, bro. But no, that's amazing, right? That's amazing. And that's one thing as well. We're like those Spartan races, dude. I don't know if you were there when I was talking about Drew. Like I was the first one to sandbag them because I was like, oh, we got some obstacles, whatever. I thought it was gonna be like kind of corny. And I get there, I'm like, yo, these are kind of legit, dude. 30-foot tall A-frame, just steel bars, no net below it. You get to the top, everybody's dead quiet. You gotta crawl over this A-frame, and that's muddy steel pipes you're grabbing.
Yeah.
You fall, I mean, you're in trouble, dude. Like, so it is legit, right? And that's one of those things, it's that competitive spirit. And when you do have the time and that comes around and you're training for it, like you'll absolutely adapt your nutrition to that.
Mhm.
Right? Because if you're getting regular runs in, you're gonna have to eat differently than when you weren't.
Right.
If you want to perform optimally.
Yeah.
You can throw all of this performance eating out the window and just free ball, but you're probably not going to feel that great.
Mhm.
You're probably going to have some consequences to that, because that is the big caveat to all this performance eating is a lot of guys will tell you, they'll try to dumb it down. They'll be like, just don't be a pussy. Just do it. And I'm like, yeah, like that's fine. You can do that. Like I get the mindset that comes from, and there is some validity to that mindset in certain situations. But the reality is, like, do you want to feel good as you go into that Spartan race? Do you want to feel confident that your energy levels will be where it needs to be for that race? Right? Do you want to feel confident on the starting line that I have enough built up energy to get through this? Right? Like, Jacob, how big of a difference is it when you step on a platform after 2 to 3 days of high carbohydrate meals versus an empty stomach? How's your confidence impacted alone? Not even biologically, just your confidence. How's that impacted?
Well, it's the next level, right? Like I have
Totally.
mental clarity. I don't have like as many nerves and such. And I've also felt the opposite. I wrestled in college, and I've done the thing where I lose 10 pounds in 2 days and such,
Yep.
and like do like 3 or 4 hours on the treadmill and such. And that's the worst feeling in the world. Like that's like you're unsure of yourself, you're exhausted, and your confidence is shot. You're like, I got to eat as much as I can in 2 hours, but not too much so I don't puke, so I can freaking function, right? So I felt
Yep.
both ends of it.
Yep. 100%. Right. And it's like, there's a mental aspect to all this performance eating as well. Like there's a whole mental aspect that we haven't even touched on yet, where it's just like, there's confidence in competence, right? Where it's like, if going into that, you're like, man, I had my nutrition to a T, right? I recovered to a T. How good are you going to feel when you step up to the starting line? Right. If I go and do a jiu-jitsu competition, similar to like what Jacob's saying with wrestling, it's like, if I get up to the mat and I freaking bow in on the mat, and I'm looking at this dude across the corner from me, how good am I going to feel if I know, I only had to cut 2 or 3 pounds and I ate a big meal last night and I'm 5 pounds over the weight limit coming in today. But guess what? We weighed in yesterday, so nobody knows. I'm going to feel great. But if I had to drop, 15 pounds and just, quote unquote, have some dog in me and just tough it out, I'm going to feel like shit when I step out there, biologically and mentally, because there's 2 aspects, right? There's the actual tangible performance that happens with the biological eating side of things. And then there's the mental aspect, the psychological aspect that comes with the actual preparation leading up to an event like that. Right. Yeah. ADH dog, baby. ADH dog. I know Matt can hear me on the other side of the wall. He's probably all pumped right now, but Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Jack, is this something you've considered as well as adopting some sort of an active hobby or something that you can compete with?
I have considered getting into like all the BJJ stuff. I'm just worried
Yeah.
about all the injuries and stuff like that that comes along with it.
All the injuries?
Yeah.
Sounds like you got some concerns, brother.
What injuries?
The biggest thing I'll tell you, brother, is with the grappling.
Yeah.
It's a safe environment. I think I told you this offer as well. It's like, send me some gyms. I've told a lot of guys, send me some gyms. If you're worried about it, send me their website, send me their location, and I'll look at it and I'll be able to tell you like within 30 seconds of research whether or not it's a legit place and you'll be safe there or not.
Dude, there's no
pretty
safer
years old.
environment than freaking mixed martial arts. Like,
Yeah.
you want to meet like-minded DKs IRL, literally
Yep.
just go do jujitsu. Everyone
Yep.
is the same person. They all want to get better. No one tries to
Yep.
beat anyone up. Like, unless like there's always gonna be the occasional a-hole and stuff. But I mean,
Totally.
like I've done BJJ in Utah and Texas, like in other states, like universal experience whenever I go, just good people who want to get better.
Yep. You'll have the occasional a-hole or the occasional bad gym, but like within a 30-second glance, I can tell you just like looking at a website, like whether or not the place is legit or not. It's pretty easy to decipher once you've been around for a while and you have some discernment. So totally take me up on that. And anybody watching the recording can take me up on that as well. Just tell me where you came from. Say I watched the recording, you said that. If you just hit me up with a random jiu-jitsu gym, I'm gonna be like, bro, what are you talking about? I'll be like, why'd you send me this, doc? Just tell me where you came from. Right. But again, how do you see that impacting the way that you eat? Say you adopt that hobby. How do you see that impacting the way that you eat and the way that you go about nutrition, Jack?
I don't know. I feel like just the calories will be a myth at that point, right? You can just pretty much, as long as you get your protein in, right, you can just pretty much eat to your full, right? Yeah.
Pretty much, right? And it's funny that you say that because that is kind of true. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's totally true, because if you order 2 whole pizzas a day and eat all of them, because Joey told me to time carbs and eat for performance, I need the energy. Well, calories aren't a myth when you do that, right? But as long as you're still applying the kind of fundamentals of exactly that, like eating the protein first, making sure you're hitting the necessary protein that you need to hit based on everything that you're doing, yeah, you kind of get to a point where calories are a myth.
Yeah. I actually got a quick anecdote on that.
Yeah.
I had so we had a heavy rolling day the other day, and I don't usually buy chips, but I decided to buy chips, and then of course, like I'm gonna make myself a big plate of nachos, and the next day I weighed myself. This is after BJJ, right?
Yep.
And I'm like 3 pounds lighter after eating a big ass heavy meal. So yeah, calories are a myth after you start doing these type of athletic stuff.
And this is where like it becomes so beneficial, right? And it's one of the things that's like, it's on my list of like my fitness 10 commandments is like have an active hobby of sorts, right? And I love having conversations like this where, yeah, of course it's like a nutrition call and we're talking about it a little bit, but really the main purpose of this call is to push you guys in the direction of adopting active hobbies. Because when you start training and you have these things that are performance metrics in your life, things like calories become a myth. They really do. As long as you're not completely irresponsible and intentionally trying to make them not a myth, then you're in a really, really good place. And the biggest with this is you get to experience real life connection like what we experienced this weekend on the retreat. Right? You get to experience friends outside of just the workplace or people that you grew up with. You force yourself into an environment of people that are trying to grow, no matter what the active hobby is. You could go do this with golf, bro. It's gonna be the same exact thing. You're gonna have an environment of good people. Just make sure you're walking. Don't get the cart if you're doing golf, bro. Get those steps in. But the whole point of this is because once you adopt this, think about how your identity shifts. Right? Think about who you now surround yourself with. Most people that have an active hobby, they aren't in bad shape, man. If I go to the jiu-jitsu gym, most of those guys are in pretty good shape. There's a few occasional guys that are a little bigger, have some weight to lose. But generally speaking, if you have somebody that plays a sport beyond age 20 and it's something they love and enjoy, they have an outlet for 1, personal time, 2, connection, brotherhood, 3, a shitload of calories. It's very, very hard to find yourself in a place where you're eating a caloric excess if you're doing all of this training. You have all this weightlifting, the walking, and these active hobbies in your corner as well. This is going to go for any sport, any active hobby that you pick up. There's an opportunity to have that outlet and create something where calories are a myth and it's fun. You look forward to it. It doesn't even feel like you're training. You don't have to log it in the Trainerize app. right? You don't have to track your jujitsu or your golf unless you're keeping score, right? Your pickleball, your basketball. You don't have to track your training for that. It's just something that you're like, dude, I love doing it. I'm going to go do it. Right. One that sounds kind of funny, but me and Matt do it all the time is that there's just an open park right next door. We just go out there and throw the Frisbee. Just get on your feet, get in the sun. And that sounds like not really an active hobby, but it is. I'm on my feet. I'm moving. I'm in the sun, freaking touching grass, right? And getting out of the office, right? Anywhere you can implement these and also bring people into your circle that also do these with you, think about how much easier it is to stick to them. Think about how much easier it is to keep going, because now you have people asking, you going to be at practice tonight? Hey, bro, we're going to go outside and throw the Frisbee. Hey, Vinny, you going to show up for run club? I don't know if you have one of those. I know a lot of guys get a run club for when they do Ironmans. I don't know if you have one, but like that's one that a lot of guys do, right? So when you can bring these into your life, things like calories evaporate. They become a no factor, right? And then you start talking about nutrition like we're talking about on this call, where it's like, I need to make sure I'm eating in order to optimize my performance for that. So I feel good, so I can keep doing that, so I can get better at that. And you start to reframe how you look at nutrition to eating for fitness, to eating to perform at this thing that I'm doing that I love, that also keeps me in really good shape. Right. So there's all kinds of steps and levels to this as it goes on. What questions or concerns do you guys have about this? I know it's a higher level conversation. It's a little further along the journey conversation, but everybody that I see here is further along the journey.
I don't really have any questions,
Mhm.
but I definitely like offline like to pick Jacob's brain, since he's been a big lifter and now he's doing BJJ. And because I've already talked to you about it, Joey.
Yeah. Totally.
I like getting perspective from everyone.
Totally, dude. Yeah, you guys can DM.
Yeah, just DM me, dude, on Slack, and we could set up a call or something. Happy to talk about my experience.
For sure, for sure. You're not in Houston, are you? I see the Astro shirt.
I am in Houston. I just moved here like 3 months ago.
No freaking way.
That's right. That's right.
How do you not say this, Joey? Come
Are
on.
you in Houston
That's
too?
right.
Yeah, bro. I'm like in Katy area.
Dude, I'm in League City. I'm like 40 minutes from you. So
That's far, but still. You should,
yeah, I
we
mean,
should still
I was
It's-
waiting for him to be like, yo, that's right down the road.
yeah.
I wish.
Katie's nice. We looked at moving there too, but yeah, that's insane. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do a meetup. So
Yeah.
You guys got to go roll, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna
Way
say,
up.
come,
I'm
yeah,
down.
I'll go roll at your place. You come roll at
I'll
our
come
place.
up too. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Active hobby, bro. You guys can get like a 2-hour
Yeah.
training session and think about how many
That's
calories
crazy.
you'll burn that day.
Joey's point literally like proved like the whole point of the IRL activities, right? Is to build connections, right? So
Yeah.
And that's true, exactly. Like all the people, especially BJJ, like we all do it. Like everyone's like-minded there.
Yep.
Like you would go in and it would be like, even if you only went once, it'd be like you remember.
Yep.
I'm sure that would be whatever gym we step in, just because like they're all like-minded. I guess that's why we talk about BJJ so much.
Well, it's awesome because it's like no one cares about politics there or stupid social issues. They're just there to get better, right? None of that matters, you know. Like I'm sure there's a wide variety of, you know, I'm an insane libertarian capitalist. I'm sure I roll with plenty of commies, so it's fine. Doesn't matter. We're all friends. We're all trying to do the same thing and get better, you know. So,
Dude, it's funny because you think about this at a Neanderthalic level,
yeah,
like again, caveman mind. It's like, well, duh. If I go do something I like, there's other people that also like this. If we both like this, we both probably think similarly because we both like this thing. Oh, like it seems really dumb in caveman think, but it's true. You walk into a place like that and you're like, damn, I like this hobby. Cool, I'm going to stay here. Guess what? The people that also like it probably think a lot like you. The guys that are all doing the Ironman with Vinny, probably a lot of like-minded guys that are doing the Ironman with Vinny. A little bit crazy. They're a little bit crazy. But there's some badasses in there. Right? Different frame of perspective. Powerlifting. There's totally a powerlifting archetype. And Jacob will attest to this. Gabe has a powerlifting archetype. Gabe, a little crazy. Digging deep, lifting heavy. Right? There's an archetype for all these different things. There's totally a stereotypical jiu-jitsu guy. Totally. right? So all these things that you pick up and go and do, like you guys are literally going to run into people that you're like, damn, this guy's just like me. Yeah, of course. That's how you guys ended up in the same room. Right. So something to think about and something that's super, super beneficial. And it's funny to watch this work out right between you guys. You guys on my screen, you're like on each side of my head. So it was funny to watch it. Like I was like, oh, left, right, left, right. You guys are just going back and forth. It was awesome. Right. But that's a perfect example of what actually happens when you get yourself in those settings.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to embrace the archetypes too, right? Like it's still, like people will make fun of you. Like I've heard Drew and Daniel both say this week, like people have called them weird. You know, it's good to be weird,
Lean
dude.
into it.
It's good to be peculiar and different, right? Who the freak wants to be normal? Today's normal is sick and overweight and like, you know, lackadaisical. Like who cares, man? I want to be weird. So
Yeah. And I'll piggyback off that as well, because I know today's call was like a little bit of nutrition, but kind of just all over the place, everything we talked about. But I'll kind of lean into that as well, because ultimately we talked about this on an Iron Sharpens Iron call, I think last week or the week before that. But it's just the whole idea of like, ultimately, do you want to be considered normal? Like you think about objectively, what is normal today? And I'm not to get all like life coachy on you or anything, but like I'm gonna get life coachy on you. Like it's like 73% of people are overweight. Over 50% of people are divorced. How many people identify as depressed, would call themselves depressed? It's over 50%. Right? Dude, I don't want to be normal personally. Right. And I think the reframe that all of you guys can have, because it came up, is like, if you ever find yourself in a situation where people around you are calling you weird or saying you've changed, reframe it to, holy shit, I must have grown a lot because these people are literally pointing it out that I'm different, that I've changed. Reframe it in your mind, give them grace, because you're the weird one. Remember, you're the one that's not average. You're the one that's not normal. Accept that you're the weird one, because it's okay. It's not a bad thing. Accept that you're the weird one, give them grace, and take pride in the fact that you have grown, you have developed, because ultimately that's all change is. If you have somebody telling you you've changed, good, dude, you're growing. That's part of this journey. It's going to be a little uncomfortable when they say it too, but any kind of change, any kind of growth requires a layer of discomfort. And that's something I tell everybody on the kickoff call, right? It's going to require some discomfort. And that's one of those things. So there's a few little reframes there for you guys if you ever find yourself getting called weird or anything like that. Because accept the fact that you are the weird one. If we look at the numbers, if we just run the numbers, you are the weird one, right? But that's okay. It's not a bad thing, right? It's a good thing. That's also why we have you guys in a group of 150 other weird people, so you guys can lean on each other and not be weird alone.
That's what I was gonna say about what you were going to about before about community and in the gym, the BJJ gym. It's this past weekend, I didn't feel weird, it was like
No,
everyone in that group had that same mindset and same goals and to push forward. So that was a kind of a good example of having that good community around you.
everybody there was weird.
Yeah.
Therefore, nobody was weird there.
Right.
Right. It's funny how that works. Right. It's funny how that works. And how many of you guys, if you would have taken one of your friends from an outside circle that's not a part of this, like one of your friends from your friend group, if you would have dropped them in that setting, they'd have been like, yo, dog, what is going on here?
Yeah. Why are all these guys trying to hug me?
Yeah. They've been like, why are they laying on the floor in a circle? Is this a cult? Loosely. Right. Right. But when you're on the inside and you're going through this, it's just like, this is just layers of growth that not everybody gets to experience in life. And it's okay. It's kind of sad in my perspective. It's like, I know a lot of people aren't going to ever experience anything close to what we experienced this weekend. Right. And when you stay on this path and you stay in this community of people that are continually trying to be better people and just impact the world at a higher level, just further step into who they are meant to be, like it's only going to get weirder. How freaking weird is Jeremy Newsom? Dude, he's objective, like he's weird, but he's awesome. Right? You give him to one of your friends outside of this group or outside of this area of life, they're like, dude, who the hell is this guy? Right? But he's amazing. How many of you guys, like you three that were there, you love that guy? Probably. I know I do. I love him.
Yeah.
Like genuinely love him. Like if you found out something ever bad happened to him, you would be crushed. You'd be crushed. You genuinely love that man. But he's objectively weird as fuck. Because he's just grown for so long. He's been doing this idea of growth and self-development for 15 years. He's so far along the path. He's such a developed human being. He's gone to the depths of hell with himself, right? So continue to lean into this stuff, guys, and continue to lean on each other. That's the biggest thing, especially you guys that were all there. And Alex, I know you weren't there, but like totally applies to you, of this idea of like, don't be afraid to be leaders in this group. Don't be afraid to be leaders around the people that you're around. Because you've been here for a while. You guys have gone to the depths of hell with yourself. This weekend, Alex, I know you've been here for well over a year now. Like, I know you've had some internal battles and some battles where you've had to grow and develop. So don't be afraid to lean into that and be that guy that takes lead amongst the other guys in this community, in this circle, and people in your lives. Because you guys have been through it. You have.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you said normal. There was at one point in my life where I was like, I just want to be normal dude, average. I just don't want to be bad. I don't care about being great. And what did that lead me to? Like being way overweight, marital problems, which led to divorce and all this other bad stuff. And then when you realize like you don't want to be good, you want to be great. And it's just ages, and you just want to keep getting better and better and better. And that's what life needs to be.
100%. And I'm going to keep going because I'm fired up and I'm feeling super inspirational and like life coaching
Let's
right
go.
now. But like,
Inspire me.
How freaking addicting is it? How addicting is it? It's a drug. It's the best drug in the world. Feeling progress. It's the best drug in the world.
It's cool because I've been thinking about that, and like 5 years ago, to me, like you could ask me, the perfect life would have been like rich, retired on a beach doing nothing. But yes, I see that entirely now. Like it is addictive. And this past weekend, just like seeing you guys, it really hit home that like it's never over. Like the journey, like there's always more work to do. There's always more progress to be had. And I see no better, pursuit in life than just constantly, looking to improve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. And I'm in the same boat where like 3 years ago, if you would have shown me a guy like Newsom, I've been like, why does that guy still do anything? I'd just be retired sipping margaritas on the beach. Dude, that's fucking boring. It's so boring. It doesn't matter how far you get. If your whole premise of why you're doing the things you're doing is growth, you'll continually keep going. That goalpost can always move and gives you something to strive for. Obviously, you get to a certain point, be content with how far you've come and be proud of it. But there's always room to keep growing. Right? There's always something to do. Now, how does a guy like Jeremy get his happiness, his fulfillment? He gets it from giving. You realize he asked for nothing for that from us? Nothing. We didn't give him a dime. He didn't ask for it. We tried to give it to him and he said, no, absolutely not. That's how he gets his fulfillment. Right? Because that's where the goalpost is for him now. He's like, how much can I give? How uncomfortable can I make people with how generous I am? That's the point he's at. Think about that point in personal development where you're like, my goal and my fulfillment out of this is just make people uncomfortable with how much I give them. Right? That's something to strive for. It's totally something to strive for. So there's always layers. There's always improvement that can be made. So super, super wholesome pill to close the call there. I know this was totally not completely tailored to nutrition. We talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to make sure we capitalized on the emotions that we all have, since everybody here was a part of it or is a guy like Alex that's been here forever. So those of you guys watching and recording, come to a freaking retreat. That was amazing. Jake, appreciate you being here as well, brother. And if you guys have any questions or you guys want to keep bouncing, that Nashville retreat Slack channel is still open, boys. So keep using it.
Joe, do you own any pillows? I'm just
yeah.
Any pillows?
I put them down on the floor because they were filling up back there, and I was like, it kind of looks like kind of suspect back there. It kind of looks a little soft and fluffy.
Pink, right?
Too fluffy, yeah. As soon as the call started, me and Jacob were talking, and I just got up and moved, threw him off to the side. It's funny as hell. You got plenty of pillows behind you, bro.
Yeah, I got 2 beds. I use them both. Like, Now they gave me 2 beds. I used everything they gave me. So yeah.
Who doesn't have 2 beds these days? Come on.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Hey, we need to make a BJJ channel then, since everyone's wanting to do BJJ.
We could do that. We could do that. Yeah, I'm in, bro. I'm in. We can make a not a like a mandatory join one, but like it's just like a secret channel that you just get added to if you want in it. Yeah. We totally have that little BJJ cult inside of DK.
Let's go.
I'm in, bro. I'm in. Well, all right, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys. As always, feel free to continue this conversation inside of Slack, of course. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Love you, boys.
All right, I'll take care.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
See ya.